The year was 2478, and humanity had finally broken free of its cradle. For centuries, Earth had been consumed by strife, wars over resources, environmental collapse, and ideological divides. But now, united under the banner of the United Earth Alliance, UEA, it stood on the precipice of greatness. With faster-than-light travel unlocked through reverse engineering alien artifacts discovered decades earlier, humanity's first deep space exploration fleet ventured into the unknown, led by Admiral Alara Voss, a decorated veteran of Earth's last Great War. The fleet consisted of 3 state-of-the-art vessels, the Odyssey, the Horizon, and the Pioneer. Their mission was clear: to map uncharted regions of space, establish contact with intelligent life, and secure humanity's place among the stars. What they found, however, would change everything. Discovery on Erebos 3 began innocuously. Enough. After months of traversing barren systems and desolate moons, the fleet detected faint energy signatures emanating from a remote moon orbiting a dying red giant. Dubbed Erebos 3, the moon appeared lifeless at first glance, a jagged wasteland of obsidian cliffs and frozen plains. But as probes scoured the surface, they uncovered something extraordinary: ruins. The structures were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Towering spires of crystalline material jutted skyward, their surfaces etched with intricate patterns that pulsed faintly with light. At the center of the complex lay a massive circular platform, inscribed with glyphs that glowed softly when approached. Scientists aboard the Odyssey quickly realized this wasn't just architecture, it was a message. Dr. Elias Kane, lead xenolinguist of the expedition, worked tirelessly to decipher the glyphs. Days turned into weeks as his team pieced together fragments of knowledge encoded within the ancient script. Finally, after countless sleepless nights, the truth emerged. The ruins were part of a vast galactic network, a map detailing the locations of key civilizations across the stars. But there was more. Embedded within the data was evidence of an overarching authority, a council of advanced species that governed the galaxy. Humanity, it seemed, had been living in blissful ignorance of this cosmic hierarchy. Admiral Voss convened an emergency meeting with her senior officers. "This changes everything," she said, her voice steady but laced with unease. "We're not alone out here, and we're not welcome. The Voidborn manifest is." The crew continued analyzing the ruins. Strange anomalies began to appear in their sensor readings. Energy spikes flared sporadically near the edge of the system, accompanied by gravitational distortions that defied explanation. Then came the reports, fragmented transmissions from distant colonies speaking of black voids swallowing planets whole. At first, the fleet dismissed these accounts as hysteria or misinformation. But soon, even the most skeptical minds couldn't ignore the mounting evidence. Entire star systems were vanishing without warning, replaced by yawning chasms of darkness that radiated an eerie, unnatural silence. Then it happened. While conducting routine scans of Erebos 3, the fleet's long-range sensors picked up movement, a shadowy mass emerging from the void itself. It was unlike any vessel they'd encountered before. Its form shifted constantly as if alive, tendrils of darkness writhing across its surface. When it moved, it left behind trails of corrupted matter, entire chunks of reality unraveling in its wake. "Captain, we're reading—" "I don't know what to call it," stammered Lieutenant Mara Hayes, the ship's chief science officer. "It's like space itself is being erased." Before anyone could react, the entity launched an attack. Beams of pure entropy lashed out, striking the Pioneer with devastating force. The ship's shields collapsed almost instantly, its hull disintegrating as though consumed by acid. Within seconds, all communication ceased. Panic rippled through the fleet. Orders were shouted, weapons powered up, and evasive maneuvers executed. But the creature, or whatever it was, moved with impossible speed, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. By the time reinforcements arrived, the entity had vanished back into the void, leaving only destruction in its wake. "What the hell was that?" demanded Captain Darius Cole of the Horizon, his face pale with shock. No one had an answer. The council arrives. In the days following the attack, the fleet remained on high alert. Survivors from the Pioneer told harrowing tales of the entity's biomechanical horrors, organic constructs that tore through bulkheads and assimilated crew members into their mass. Though shaken, Admiral Voss refused to retreat. Instead, she ordered the fleet to continue studying the ruins, convinced they held answers. Their efforts paid off when they uncovered additional data buried deep within the crystalline spires. According to the records, the entities were known as the Voidborn. Once members of the Galactic Council, they had rebelled against their creators eons ago, seeking to reshape existence according to their own twisted vision. Banished to dimensional rifts beyond the edges of reality, they had evolved into something far more dangerous, an existential threat to all life. Just as the fleet prepared to relay their findings back to Earth, a new arrival interrupted their work. A massive alien vessel materialized in orbit around Erebos III, its sleek design radiating power and authority. From its bowels emerged a delegation of beings representing the Galactic Council. They were unlike anything humanity had imagined. Some resembled towering insectoids with iridescent exoskeletons. Others appeared as amorphous clouds of sentient gas. At their center stood a humanoid figure clad in flowing robes, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "We warned you," the figure intoned, addressing Admiral Voss directly. "Your kind was never meant to leave your homeworld. Now you meddle in affairs beyond your comprehension." Voss stood firm despite the overwhelming presence of the Council. "With respect, we didn't ask for permission," she replied, "and we won't stand idly by while our people are attacked," the Council leader scoffed. "The Voidborn are a myth perpetuated by rogue elements seeking chaos. Focus on survival, human. Your fragile civilization cannot withstand the truths of the cosmos." Despite their dismissive tone, the Council's words carried weight. They demanded humanity cease all expansion efforts and submit to their oversight, promising protection in exchange for compliance. To refuse, they warned, would invite disaster. Humanity's choice back aboard the Odyssey, tensions ran high. Some argued that submission to the Council was the only way to ensure humanity's survival. Others insisted they fight back, using the knowledge gained from the ruins to prepare for the inevitable confrontation. Among the dissenters was Commander Cale Armitage, a young but brilliant tactician who had risen through the ranks during Earth's unification wars. "If the Voidborn are real, and I believe they are, we can't rely on the Council to save us," he declared during a heated strategy session. "We need to build our own fleet, equipped with weapons capable of matching theirs." His proposal sparked debate. Building such a fleet would require unprecedented cooperation between Earth's fractured governments, not to mention access to resources humanity barely possessed. Yet the alternative, surrendering their autonomy, was unthinkable. Ultimately, Admiral Voss made the decision. "We'll do both," she announced. "We'll play along with the Council for now, buying ourselves time. But behind closed doors, we'll prepare for war." Thus began humanity's secret project, the construction of warships designed to challenge both the Council and the Voidborn. Engineers adapted alien tech scavenged from the ruins, creating faster-than-light drives, advanced weaponry, and durable hull designs. Pilots underwent rigorous training simulations based on limited intel about the Voidborn's tactics. Meanwhile, the Council watched with growing suspicion, unaware of the storm brewing beneath humanity's surface. Climactic moment. Months later, the fleet received devastating news. A major human colony near the frontier had fallen victim to another Voidborn attack. Billions perished as entire cities were consumed by darkness. Panic spread across Earth, fueling calls for action. Faced with mounting pressure, the UEA issued a bold declaration. Humanity would no longer hide in fear. Against the Council's warnings, they unveiled their prototype warship, the Invincible Dawn, vowing to defend themselves against any threat, whether alien or extra-dimensional. The Council's response was swift and chilling. "You've made your choice," their leader declared. "May your arrogance not doom us all." As the fleet prepared for battle, one thing became clear. Humanity's greatest trial lay ahead. From the void they came, and humanity's warships would soon drown the Council in fear. Humanity's defiance had been broadcast across the galaxy, but it came at a cost. The United Earth Alliance, UEA, faced an unprecedented challenge, transforming their fledgling civilization into a force capable of standing against both the Galactic Council and the enigmatic Voidborn. It was a monumental task, one that required unity, sacrifice, and innovation on a scale never before seen. As construction began on humanity's first-ever interstellar fleet, Admiral Ilara Voss and her team worked tirelessly to rally Earth's fractured governments and industries. The stakes were clear. Failure meant extinction. Success, however, could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos forever. Building the Armada, the UEA wasted no time mobilizing resources. Factories once dedicated to consumer goods were repurposed to produce advanced weaponry, while mining operations in Earth's asteroid belt ramped up to supply raw materials. Scientists and engineers adapted alien technology scavenged from the ruins of Erebos III, reverse engineering faster-than-light drives, energy shields, and devastating plasma cannons. At the heart of this effort was the Invincible Dawn, humanity's prototype warship. Designed by Commander Cale Armitage and his team, the vessel embodied the cutting edge of human ingenuity. Its sleek hull shimmered with adaptive camouflage, capable of blending seamlessly with the void of space. Inside, state-of-the-art AI systems coordinated every aspect of the ship's operation, from navigation to combat. But building the fleet wasn't just about hardware, it was about people. Pilots, engineers, and soldiers underwent rigorous training programs designed to prepare them for the horrors of interstellar warfare. Simulations based on limited intel about the Voidborn's tactics pushed recruits to their limits, testing not only their skills but also their resolve. Among these recruits was Lieutenant Mara Hayes, who had survived the attack on the Pioneer. Haunted by memories of the biomechanical horrors that consumed her comrades, she threw herself into her new role as a tactical officer aboard the Invincible Dawn. Her determination inspired others, becoming a rallying cry for those who feared they might never measure up against such an implacable foe. Diplomatic tensions. While humanity focused on building its fleet, relations with the Galactic Council grew increasingly strained. The Council viewed humanity's defiance as reckless arrogance, believing their actions would provoke the Voidborn further. Some factions even accused humanity of secretly collaborating with the invaders, citing intercepted transmissions and unexplained energy spikes near human colonies. To diffuse tensions, Admiral Voss dispatched emissaries to negotiate with sympathetic members of the Council. Among these was Ambassador Jarek Solon, a soft-spoken diplomat known for his ability to bridge divides. Solon argued that humanity's survival depended on self-reliance, emphasizing their willingness to cooperate if given the chance. "We are not your enemies," he told the Council during a tense assembly. "But we cannot sit idly by while our people are slaughtered. If you wish to avoid conflict, help us understand the true nature of the Voidborn." His words fell largely on deaf ears. While a few Council members expressed cautious support, the majority remained hostile. They demanded humanity dismantle its fleet and submit to oversight, threatening sanctions if their demands weren't met. Despite the pressure, humanity refused to back down. Instead, they doubled down on their preparations, knowing full well that time was running out. First contact with the Voidborn months passed as construction neared completion. Then, disaster struck. During a routine patrol near the frontier, the Invincible Dawn encountered a lone Voidborn scout vessel, a twisted amalgamation of organic tissue and dark matter. Its presence sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned crew members. Commander Armitage ordered the ship to engage, hoping to gather valuable data. What started as a skirmish quickly escalated into chaos. The Voidborn deployed horrifying biotechnological weapons, organic constructs that latched onto the Invincible Dawn's hull, attempting to breach its defenses. Inside the ship, panicked reports flooded in as tendrils of living metal snaked through corridors, assimilating anything they touched. Lieutenant Hayes sprang into action, coordinating countermeasures alongside the ship's AI. Using experimental EMP bursts, The crew managed to disable the constructs temporarily, buying enough time to launch a desperate counterattack. Plasma cannons roared to life, tearing through the void-born vessel's shifting form. Yet even as it disintegrated, fragments of its mass reformed, clinging stubbornly to existence. Finally, after what felt like hours, the scout vessel collapsed into itself, vanishing into a swirling vortex of darkness. Silence fell over the ship as the crew processed what had happened. Though victorious, the encounter left deep scars, not just on the ship's hull, but on the minds of those who had witnessed the Voidborn's terrifying capabilities. Revelations and betrayal. Back at Earth Command, analysis of the battle revealed disturbing truths. The Voidborn weren't merely mindless destroyers, they were harvesting resources to stabilize collapsing dimensions. Fragments of their communication suggested they believed themselves saviors, seeking to reset the galaxy by annihilating civilizations deemed too destructive or unstable. This revelation sparked heated debates among scientists and ethicists. Were the Voidborn truly evil, or were they victims of circumstance? Could diplomacy ever bridge the gap between humanity and these extra-dimensional entities? Meanwhile, internal divisions threatened to undermine humanity's efforts. Whispers of betrayal spread as evidence surfaced, implicating several high-ranking officials in leaking classified information to the Council. Suspicion turned inward, fracturing trust among Earth's leaders. Admiral Voss confronted one such official, General Marcus Hale, during a private meeting. "You think the Council will protect us?" she demanded, slamming a data pad onto the table. "They'll throw us to the wolves the moment it suits them." Hale's response was cold and calculated. "And you think we can win against gods? Wake up, Ilara. We're playing a game we don't understand." Though Hale was arrested, his words lingered, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of many. As paranoia spread, humanity's fragile unity began to crack. Climactic moment. With the fleet nearly complete, humanity prepared for its next move. Plans were drawn up to deploy the Invincible Dawn alongside two other prototype ships, the Iron Resolve and the Eternal Flame, to patrol the frontier and gather intelligence on the Voidborn. But just as the ships prepared to launch, disaster struck. A saboteur infiltrated the dockyards, planting explosives aboard the Invincible Dawn. The resulting explosion crippled the flagship, leaving it grounded and forcing repairs that would take weeks, if not months, to complete. Investigations traced the sabotage to a sleeper agent embedded within the UEA's ranks. The traitor was swiftly apprehended, but the damage had already been done. Humanity's greatest weapon lay immobilized, leaving Earth vulnerable to attack. As the Council watched from afar, their patience wearing thin, Admiral Voss issued a grim warning to her crew. "This isn't over," she said, addressing the assembled officers. "We may have stumbled, but we haven't fallen. Together we'll rise stronger than ever." Her words resonated, reigniting hope among the weary survivors. But the question remained: would they be ready when the Voidborn returned? The sabotage of the Invincible Dawn sent shockwaves through the United Earth Alliance (UEA). Humanity's greatest hope lay crippled, its crew scrambling to repair the damage while paranoia gripped the ranks. The betrayal highlighted a sobering truth. Humanity was not only fighting an external enemy but also battling treachery from within, and perhaps even beyond. As the galaxy braced for the inevitable return of the Voidborn, alliances shifted, secrets unraveled, and humanity faced one of its darkest hours. The stakes had never been higher. Rebuilding trust. Admiral Ilara Voss stood before her senior officers in the aftermath of the sabotage, her expression grim but resolute. "We've been hit hard," she admitted, pacing the briefing room aboard the Iron Resolve, now serving as the temporary flagship. "But we can't let this break us." Repairs on the Invincible Dawn were underway, but progress was slow. Engineers worked around the clock, patching together damaged systems with whatever resources they could scavenge. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Mara Hayes coordinated efforts to root out other potential sleeper agents embedded within the fleet. Every crew member was subjected to rigorous vetting, straining morale, but ensuring loyalty. Commander Cale Armitage, ever the pragmatist, pushed for immediate action. "We can't wait until the Invincible Dawn is fully operational," he argued during a heated strategy session. "If the Voidborn strike again, and they will, we need to be ready." Voss agreed, ordering the Iron Resolve and the Eternal Flame to patrol the frontier. Their mission was twofold: gather intelligence on the Voidborn and protect vulnerable colonies from further attacks. It was a risky gamble, but sitting idle would have been suicide. Alliances and divisions. While humanity struggled to recover, fault lines deepened within the Galactic Council. Some factions viewed humanity's defiance as reckless arrogance, insisting they dismantle their fleet entirely. Others saw potential allies in humanity, recognizing their determination and ingenuity. Among these dissenters was Ambassador Lyra Takan, a reptilian diplomat representing the Zetherian species. Known for her sharp intellect and pragmatic approach, Takan proposed forming a coalition with humanity to combat the Voidborn threat. "They may be young and inexperienced," she told her fellow council members, "but they possess something we lack: resilience. We cannot afford to dismiss them." Her proposal sparked fierce debate. Traditionalists accused her of undermining the council's authority, while moderates cautiously supported the idea. Ultimately, a fragile compromise emerged. The council would send a contingent of ships to assist humanity, but only if they agreed to share command decisions and submit to oversight. When Admiral Voss received the offer, she hesitated. Accepting meant surrendering some autonomy, but rejecting it risked alienating potential allies. After consulting with her advisors, she accepted under one condition: humanity retained control over its own vessels. The true nature of the Voidborn as tensions. Mounted fragments of intel began painting a clearer picture of the Voidborn. A rogue scientist named Dr. Elias Kane, once part of the team deciphering the ruins on Erebos III, had gone missing shortly after the sabotage. His research files, recovered by UEA operatives, contained startling revelations. Kane theorized that the Voidborn weren't merely invaders, they were remnants of a failed experiment conducted by the Galactic Council millennia ago. Created to stabilize collapsing dimensions, the beings rebelled when their creators attempted to shut them down, believing themselves misunderstood saviors rather than destroyers. "They think they're fixing the galaxy," Kane wrote in his Fortsum. "To them, civilizations like ours are cancers consuming resources faster than the cosmos can replenish. They see annihilation as mercy." This revelation sparked outrage among humanity's leaders. If true, it meant the Council bore responsibility for unleashing the Voidborn in the first place. Yet Kane's findings also raised uncomfortable questions. Could diplomacy bridge the gap between two fundamentally opposed ideologies? Or was war inevitable? Midpoint conflict. The fall of Luminaris Prime. Before humanity could act on Kane's discoveries, disaster struck. The Voidborn launched a devastating assault on Luminaris Prime, a key council stronghold near the galactic core. Ships poured out of dimensional rifts, overwhelming the council's defenses with terrifying efficiency. Humanity watched in horror as the battle unfolded via long-range sensors. Entire fleets were annihilated, their vessels consumed by biomechanical horrors. When the dust settled, Luminaris Prime was no more, a smoldering ruin reduced to ash and silence. The council's response was swift and brutal. Accusing humanity of collaborating with the Voidborn, they demanded immediate surrender of all military assets. When Admiral Voss refused, they issued an ultimatum: comply or face retaliation. Tensions reached a boiling point as both sides prepared for conflict. But amidst the chaos, whispers spread of a hidden agenda. Some believed the Voidborn's attack on Luminaris Prime wasn't random. It was orchestrated to weaken the Council and force humanity into submission. Betrayal. Within as suspicions mounted, internal divisions threatened to tear humanity apart. Investigations revealed that General Marcus Hale, the same man implicated in leaking classified information, had been secretly communicating with rogue elements within the Council. His goal? to orchestrate a coup and hand control of the UEA to pro-council factions. Hale's plans came to light when Lieutenant Mara Hayes intercepted encrypted transmissions detailing his intentions. Confronted by Admiral Voss, he made no attempt to deny his actions. "You're leading us to ruin," he spat, his voice laced with venom. "Better to bow to the council than face extinction." Though Hale was arrested, his betrayal left scars that ran deep. Many questioned whether others shared his views, sowing distrust among Earth's leadership. For every loyal officer standing firm, there were whispers of dissent, eroding the unity humanity so desperately needed. Climactic moment. With time running out, Admiral Voss made a bold decision. She ordered the partially repaired, the Invincible, Dawn into service despite warnings from engineers that its systems were still unstable. Alongside the Iron Resolve and the Eternal Flame, the fleet set course for the edge of known space, where voidborne activity had intensified. Their objective was simple yet perilous: locate the source of the dimensional rifts and collapse them, cutting off the voidborne's access to real space. Success would buy humanity precious time. Failure would mean annihilation. The mission began promisingly enough. Using experimental tech developed by Dr. Kane's research, the fleet managed to destabilize several smaller rifts. But as they approached the largest rift, a swirling vortex of darkness larger than any planet, they encountered resistance. Voidborne ships emerged en masse, surrounding the fleet. Biomechanical constructs latched onto the hulls of human vessels, attempting to assimilate them. Inside the Invincible Dawn, chaos erupted as tendrils of living metal breached the ship's defenses. Despite the odds, Commander Armitage rallied the crew, coordinating desperate countermeasures. Plasma cannons roared to life, tearing through voidborne vessels while EMP bursts disabled the constructs temporarily. But the cost was high. Dozens of crew members perished and critical systems faltered. In the end, the fleet succeeded in collapsing the rift, but at great cost. The Invincible Dawn sustained catastrophic damage, forcing its crew to abandon ship. As escape pods jettisoned into the void, the once proud flagship imploded, consumed by the very forces it sought to defeat. Aftermath. Back on Earth, news of the mission's success brought mixed reactions. While the collapse of the rift bought humanity valuable time, the loss of the Invincible Dawn dealt a crushing blow to morale. Admiral Voss addressed the public, her voice steady, but tinged with sorrow. "We stand battered but unbroken," she declared. "Today we prove that humanity will not yield, not to fear, not to betrayal, and certainly not to the darkness that seeks to consume us." Yet even as celebrations erupted across Earth, shadows loomed. The Voidborn remained a threat, their motives still shrouded in mystery. And within the Galactic Council, whispers of rebellion hinted at greater turmoil to come. Humanity had survived, for now. But the war was far from over. The galaxy stood on the brink of collapse. Humanity, battered but defiant, faced its greatest trial yet. The Voidborn loomed larger than ever, their dimensional rifts spreading like cancer across the cosmos. Meanwhile, tensions with the Galactic Council reached a breaking point, threatening to ignite a war that could doom them all. But amidst the chaos, hope flickered, a fragile flame fueled by courage, ingenuity, and an unyielding determination to survive. For humanity, this was more than a fight for survival. It was a chance to prove they belonged among the stars. Unlikely allies in the wake of the Invincible Dawn's destruction, Admiral Ilara Voss knew humanity couldn't face the Voidborn alone. Desperate times called for desperate measures, and she turned to an unlikely source, Ambassador Lyra Takan and her faction within the Galactic Council. Takan had long advocated for cooperation with humanity, believing their resilience offered the best chance of defeating the Voidborn. Now, with the Council fractured and the Voidborn advancing unchecked, she rallied other sympathetic species to join forces with Earth's fleet. Together, they formed the United Galactic Coalition, UGC, a fragile alliance of humans, Cytherians, and several smaller species united by a common goal. Though trust between the factions remained tenuous, Necessity forced them to work together. Commander Cale Armitage took charge of integrating human and alien technologies, creating hybrid vessels capable of matching the Voidborn's biomechanical horrors. Lieutenant Mara Hayes spearheaded joint training exercises, teaching coalition forces how to counter the Voidborn's unpredictable tactics. Yet even as preparations intensified, doubts lingered. Could such a disparate group truly stand united against a foe as ancient and powerful as the Voidborn? Or would internal divisions doom them before the final battle began? The final battle. The UGC launched its assault near the edge of the galaxy, where the largest Voidborn rift pulsed ominously. Dubbed the Abyss, the rift was a swirling vortex of darkness so vast it dwarfed entire star systems. Scientists theorized it served as a gateway connecting the Voidborn's home dimension to real space. Led by Admiral Voss aboard the Eternal Flame, the fleet approached cautiously. Escort ships flanked the flagship, while specialized strike teams prepared boarding pods equipped with EMP weapons and experimental nanotech designed to disrupt the Voidborn's organic constructs. As they neared the rift, the Voidborn attacked, in force. Hundreds of ships poured out of the darkness, their shifting forms radiating menace. Biomechanical tendrils lashed out, attempting to assimilate coalition vessels. Inside the ships, panic spread as living metal breached hulls, consuming everything in its path. Despite the chaos, the UGC fought back with everything they had. Plasma cannons roared, tearing through Voidborn vessels, while fighter squadrons darted through the fray, targeting weak points in their defenses. Commander Armitage coordinated the effort from the Iron Resolve, his tactical genius shining as he adapted strategies in real time. But the tide turned when the Voidborn unleashed their ultimate weapon, a colossal entity known as the Harbinger. Towering over the battlefield, the Harbinger exuded an aura of pure entropy, unraveling reality itself wherever it moved. Ships caught in its wake disintegrated instantly, leaving behind only void. Realizing conventional weapons were useless against such a foe, Admiral Voss devised a daring plan. Using data recovered from Dr. Elias Kane's research, she ordered a team of volunteers to pilot modified boarding pods directly into the Harbinger's core. Their mission: plant explosive charges laced with destabilizing nanotech, collapsing the creature from within. Lieutenant Hayes volunteered immediately, leading a team of pilots and engineers into the maw of death itself. As their pods breached the Harbinger's outer shell, they found themselves in a nightmarish landscape of pulsating flesh and writhing tendrils. Every step brought new horrors, testing their resolve to the limit. When they finally reached the core, a pulsating mass of dark energy, they planted the charges and activated the countdown, but escaping proved impossible. Surrounded by biomechanical constructs, Hayes transmitted one final message to Admiral Voss. "Tell them we made our stand. Tell them we didn't give up." Seconds later, the charges detonated, triggering a chain reaction that consumed the Harbinger in a cataclysmic explosion. The shockwave rippled outward, destabilizing the rift and causing it to collapse inward. Revelations and resolution. With the Harbinger destroyed and the rift sealed, the remaining Voidborn retreated into the depths of space. The battle was won, but at great cost. Dozens of ships lay in ruins and thousands of lives had been lost, including Lieutenant Mara Hayes and her brave team. Amidst the wreckage, Admiral Voss addressed the surviving crew members. "Today we proved that no matter how dark the void, humanity will always find a way to shine," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of loss. "We may have started this journey alone, but we finished it together, with allies who believed in us when others doubted." Back on Earth, celebrations erupted as news of the victory spread. Humanity's place among the stars was no longer questioned. It was earned through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. The Galactic Council, humbled by the events, extended formal recognition of Earth's sovereignty, marking the beginning of a new era of cooperation. Yet questions remained about the Voidborn. Were they truly defeated, or merely delayed? And what of their leader, the enigmatic figure hinted at in Kane's research? Rumors persisted of a shadowy presence lurking beyond the edges of reality, watching and waiting. Epilogue. A fragile peace months later, Admiral Voss stood aboard a newly constructed vessel, christened the Dawn of Unity. Designed as a symbol of hope, the ship carried representatives from every member species of the UGC on a diplomatic mission to explore uncharted regions of the galaxy. As the ship departed Earth's orbit, Voss gazed out at the stars. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, but she knew the journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast and filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. For now, peace reigned. But somewhere, deep in the void, whispers lingered. The Voidborn's absence felt unnatural, like the calm before a storm, and though no one spoke of it openly, everyone wondered, how long until they returned? From the void they came, and humanity's warships drowned the Council in fear. But, as the stars stretched endlessly before them, one thing was certain. Humanity's story was just beginning.